Welcome to the 4-H Alberta Multi-Species Judging Learning Series in partnership with Lakeland College. There are quite a few 4-H members jumping on still, so the room is still filling up and we will let them join in the next few minutes. We're excited to present this learning series. Just a quick little reminder before we get started. This is a 4-part learning series, and we've also partnered with Lakeland College to present our provincial judging competition. There's a lot of words on this screen, but if you're interested in this, please reach out to Tracy Dietrich or anyone on 4-H Alberta. You can already register for the provincial judging competition that will be held at Lakeland College on March 11th. And we're excited for this because all ages, junior, intermediate, and senior, can join this competition. And the seniors have an opportunity to, hopefully, if COVID behaves, to win some judging award trips as well. So we will talk about that a little bit further. So 4-H Alberta, we would like to thank our 4-H Alberta sponsors, the Alberta government, and our 4-H Alberta supporters, the Alberta Recycling, Altalink, ATB, Calgary Stampede Foundation, and the Chartered Professional Accountants in UFA. Also AFFC, PV Mart, Save On Foods, and Service Equipment. And our, this slide of sponsors: Alberta Beef Producers, Bayer, Gas Alberta Inc., Lakeland College, MCS Net, Nutrien, Viterra, and our 4-H Canada national partner, Bayer. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm going to turn it over. I believe Jessie's the one that's going to share her screen. So I will turn it over to Jessie, and she can introduce your team and your partners for the next hour. If you do have technical difficulties, you can reach out to me in the chat, or anybody from Lakeland will help you out with that. So let's welcome Lakeland College judging team, and I'm excited for tonight.
Okay, perfect. I've never shared my screen on Zoom, so I hope it works. Can you guys see? Let me know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, you're good?
We can see it, Jessie. Is everybody able to hear her, or does she seem kind of garbly or underwater? Everybody can hear her? Everybody's good. Awesome. I'll let you continue.
I must have broke out there. I didn't hear that. Is that still working?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Jessie Ferguson. I'm a first-year student of the Lakeland College, and I am part of the Animal Health Technology program. So we have 3 other members here with us, part of the judging team, and we all have a love for judging. We're all have many accomplishments through 4-H judging, and so we'll introduce ourselves.
So I'm Annalise Valstar. I am a first-year AST beef major, and we are so happy to be helping you guys figure out some more judging practices.
And then we should have Carter here too. Okay, well, Carter Wood is a longtime member of 4-H and cattle showing also, so he loves to judge, and he came with us and our team of 12 to the Canadian Agribition judging competition. So without further ado, I guess we'll get started. So if we have any difficulties, let me know. So some things that we're gonna discuss. Oops. So how do you guys want to improve? You guys have to think about ways to improve and just build on it as much as you can through the four days of education, I guess. We're going to tell you a little bit about judging and how it's used, what to look for in specific animals and specific species. We're going to go over some terminology and some note taking to make your strategies easier on yourselves when you're looking at your classes. And then your reasons format. So there's many different ways to write reasons, and we're going to go over just a few of them. And then how to present your oral reasons in general. So believe it or not, we use judging every single day. I'm sure you guys have heard this in previous judging clinics. But yeah, it's based on like what you're going to wear every day. It doesn't have to do with livestock, what you're going to eat, what's the healthier decision. It's all comes down to judging. It's not just a competition. However, in my opinion, the judging competitions sure are fun. Why do we want to judge? We want to evaluate our decisions. We want to make the best decisions possible. And then have the tough time, I don't know, I'm sure there's people out there who have a tough time making decisions. Like, for example, I had a tough time waking up and deciding what I was going to eat this morning. So judging just builds on all of those aspects of life. It's truly something that you're going to use every single day. And I've really enjoyed learning more about it and building my skills. It also helps with communication. So believe it or not, when I was 9 years old and just starting 4-H, I couldn't even talk on the phone for 1 minute without being shy and having nothing left else to say. And now here I am. I won't stop talking. So it also develops confidence. I would have never guessed I would have judged at the Canadian Exhibition judging competition, but it happened and it was a blast, and I'm going to do it again next year. So when you're judging, we're going to go over just some overall things that you want to look for. So you want to picture in your mind your ideal animal. So when you're judging a class of ranch horses, what are you going to look for? You want to picture your perfect horse in your mind before you even look at the class. So once you do look at the class, you want to match up whoever matches the best perfect horse in your mind. It's all about first impression. Usually your first impression is the best impression. Whoever has heard, don't change your answers on the test because your first thought is always right. That's usually the way it goes, because 90% of the time when you change your answer on a test, it turns out it's incorrect. So yeah, your first look at the class is the most important. To each animal. And this will help you manage your time. Like if you find 3 good things and 3 bad things about each animal, then that just helps you develop your reasons and make your opinion that much more concise and gives you a lot more confidence. So I'll let Annalise talk a little bit about market animals, and then we'll carry on.
Jessie, do you want to go to the next slide?
For sure. Sorry, there we go.
Okay, so in market animals, one of the main things you want to be looking for is muscle. It's best viewed by looking at the forearm of the animal. The forearm is a good representation of muscle expression because fat can't hide anything there. Another place to view muscle is from behind an animal, the top line, the hip, the stifle, and the quarter. Another way to look at it is power. Jessie, if you can switch the slide again, thank you. So, do you want to hit it again, Jessie?
What did I touch?
Just go to the next slide, I think, because I'm on power now.
Oh no. Power?
Yeah, it should be number 9 slide.
Okay.
Okay, while she's figuring that out, I'm just going to keep talking. Power is another good one. You can see that in the rib shape, body depth, length of spine, and a wide base of the animal. In this picture, you can kind of see like where the red lines are. That's a good indication of where they are to find power in market animals. For structural correctness, which is the skeletal, which should be smooth, jointed, correct angles, and sound in motion. So when that animal is walking out, they should be stepping in their front foot spot. Like you should be able to see it, and their back feet, when they walk and they're walking around, you shouldn't see any dirt moving or shavings moving while their back feet are coming up. That's another good way to see that. You should have a desirable slope shoulder and pasterns, all 4 legs at the corners. Their toes pointed forward, hocks are square. They're not supposed to be bowed in or out. Their stride is long. A smooth and front track should be filled by the back track, like I said before. So now what to look in some breeding animals. So your performance animals there's many qualities similar to market animals. So these performance animals will be judged just a little bit differently, just because market animals are supposed to be big, stocky, and always have lots of good power in them. Show animals or performance animals should be a little bit more showy, like eye appealing and things like that. So their movement, for example, should be different for a beef cow and a dairy cow. Their structural soundness, they should be a little bit different. A heifer calf needs to display correct structure so she can pass these traits down to her calves. It all comes back down to that, how she's producing and how those calves are going to be good for your herd later on. Balance is less important in a steer compared to a breeding bull, because your steer isn't breeding with another genetics. A bull would be. So those bulls should be everything you want your herd to look like in your females and your male calves. They should have a good eye appeal. For instance, like in Texas Longhorns, we are judging on the wildness and crazy colors of their hide and their horns. So it's a little bit different in each animal. Same thing with, like, if we're looking at forages, for example, like your feed should look better. Some feeds, like hay, should look different than your green feed or your silages and things like that. So I think now we should be able to get you guys to be a judge for a class of market steers. Hopefully,
yeah, so hopefully you guys can see the 4 steers there. Let me know if you can't.
They're not showing up.
Oh no.
Now they showed up, Jessie.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll give you guys like 2 minutes, or well, I guess 30 seconds per picture, and then we'll flip back between the 3 pictures that I have. So if you want to start by writing out, just like I said, like kind of find 3 good things and then 3 bad things about each animal. Make sure you picture your desired animal. So go over things that Annalise said, like you want your length for market. So
You cut out there a bit, Jessie. Do you want to just repeat what you said?
oh man, okay. So we're gonna just flip through the 3 slides that we have. We'll give you 30 seconds per each slide, and then we'll just rotate them through. So just judge the class however you think is right, and then we'll have Carter give his reasons of why he placed the class the way he did.
Whatever,
So something we forgot to mention, sorry guys, is the first thing you're gonna do is have your perfect animal in your mind. So then you're gonna look at your class, you're gonna take your first impression, you're gonna find the animal that matches your perfect animal best. So in the first 4 minutes, our coach likes to tell us we should have a pretty good idea of how we're gonna place the class. So you don't wanna waste any time looking at your animals, staring at them, stepping back, looking at them some more. We want to have them judged in our placings right off the bat in the first 4 minutes. So then we want to make sure we have our class, the name of our class down right, so we don't mess that up right off the bat. So this class is called Market Steers. And so yeah, then we're gonna follow the typical judging format. I'm sure you guys have heard it a million times. For this class of market steers, I placed them 1, 2, 3, 4 for the following reasons. And then that's where you're just gonna go over your pairs and just tell us a story. So our coach, something that has really stuck with me when judging is all about telling a story. So you want to explain to the judge why you placed the class the way you did. There's really no right or wrong answer. Like you always hear tomorrow the judge would place the class a different way because it's just how he was feeling that day. Judging is a tough event. It's all based on your opinion of that second, that day. Maybe the cow took a bad step and you're like, oh, that could have been a winner, but she's took a sore step and not quite sound anymore. So just keep your perfect animal in your mind and place the class. Make sure you got the right name of the class.
Another thing is also be confident in your placings. Judging is all about your opinion. You and the judge may not have placed them the same way, but if your reasons are like strong enough, the judge may say, oh yeah, this young kid knows like what she's looking for in her animals and how she likes them. You may not win that class, but you still went with it and just was confident while talking to the judge, or when the judge was reading your reasons, your reasons were confident, and they can always tell that when you talk to them too.
What you're gonna do, or do you need more time?
I think I need more time.
Okay, you bet. We'll give you like 3 more minutes.
Thanks.
So just to give you guys a little more insight of what, if we were looking at our steers from behind, this is kind of what we're taught to look for. So we want to look at the width of stance. So the wider they stand, the wider their loin, the more muscling, just overall, you want a good width of stance. So that's what we're looking for when we're looking at the end of our steers. You can also tell the amount of finish on our steers a little bit from the behind. If you have like a really V-shaped kind of little more dip, view of your brisket pretty good. So brisket is fat. So if you got a really big waisty brisket, then there's a fine line. They're either over finished, too fat, or just right, but not enough brisket.
You're cutting out, Jessie.
Steer in the ribs, you want wide ribs, you want long top line. You can also tell your finish through looking at the ribs. So you want a nice round shape. When you're looking at them from behind, you want a nice round shape. You don't want their sides to be flat. People say bold shaped or whatever you can think of that describes what you want in a steer.
Also look at the balance from the side profile. How balanced they are will mean they have lots of muscling going throughout their entire body, not just kind of choppy. They have lots of hip, not enough middle, and then they have a nice big shoulder again. So you want them nice and balanced and evenly spread out.
Yeah, so even some judges like to list off what they're looking for in the class. So for me, my top 3 things that I look for in a market class are adequate muscling, and then I want a really proportioned steer. I don't want my hindquarters to overpower my shoulders, or my shoulders to overpower my hindquarters. I want it to be nice and balanced with the same looking muscle all the way through. And then the last thing I look for is finish. So if you have an overfinished or underfinished steer, and then, yeah, that's what I like to do when I say my reasons, is list the top 3 things that I look for, and then make sure you incorporate those in when you're talking about them. Do you guys have enough time to look at the class? Are we good?
You guys won't be listing your reasons to us. These reasons are just to see how you did. This is just for you to listen to Carter's reasons and just kind of fix them up and see where you're at. This is for yourself. You won't be telling your reasons to us today.
All right, if Carter's ready, we're ready to hear him.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Okay. I marked this class of market steers 2143. I started the class off with an easy winner in the white steer. He's the widest when viewed from behind. He's wide over his hip and top, bold ribbed, and he has a nice sound back leg. He's also the deepest ribbed steer when viewed from the side, along with a clean front end, a steer that's really not going to waste much when we hang him up and kill him. As we slide into our middle pair, we find ourselves with a little bit closer match. I elected to use the one steer, the red and white steer, over the solid red steer because I felt he was a little larger framed, a little longer spined, with a little bit more natural muscle. I do grant that the steer in third, the solid red steer, maybe does carry a little bit more condition when you view him from behind, but I feel he just isn't adequately muscled compared to the steer above him. As we get to the bottom of the class, we find ourselves the red and white steer that's a little bit harder made compared to the top 3 steers, a little bit leaner. He gets a little bit straight out of his hock, but still a steer that's really long bodied and really long fronted, and a steer that when we hang him up just doesn't have the muscle and width when viewed from behind. For these reasons, I place this class of market steers 2143.
Okay, so Carter, some things I really liked about Carter's reasons, he used a lot of ER words like leaner, fuller, longer. Those are things that I'm sure you guys have heard all throughout 4-H, but really those are our foundation. Like ER words, they're very descriptive. You can't go wrong with comparing another animal to the other. So another thing is he put a real life aspect. He talked about hanging them in the butcher shop, and lots of judges like that. They know you have an understanding of what the animal is going to be used for. Yeah. So would you guys agree with the placings? Do you think he did a pretty good job?
Does anyone want to share their placings with us? Another thing that Carter also did was when you're giving oral reasons, to judges or judge, he also did, like, he used just descriptive words, like that white steer was his first placing, and then the red and white steer, then the solid red, and then the leaner made red and white steer. That's also good. So it jogs the judge's mind, and it also makes you remember what you saw in your class while you're judging them as well.
Yeah, exactly. So for those of you that are going to go on to provincials and regional judging competitions, and you're going to go without your notes eventually, you're going to just say your reasons out of your head. Those things like memorizing your colors of your steers, if you wanted to look at yellow ear tag versus the green ear tag, all those things just make it so much easier for you to remember your class. And then it gives the judge the conclusion that you were really looking at your class, you know what you're talking about, and you're keen with your class. Lots of good judges will remember their classes for weeks on end after the show is even complete. So just putting those animals right into your memory, even if you don't memorize your reasons and don't use your notes, it just makes for such a smooth delivery when you can remember your animals and tell your story.
Another thing that's important and we didn't really talk about, I don't know if we're going to talk about in the next section, but that would be the intro and the conclusion. So another thing that's really important when you go to give a set of reasons is making sure you have an introduction. So you always say like how you mark the class or how you place the class. And then at the end, once you get complete your reasons and finish talking your fourth place animal or whatever, then you would say, for these reasons, I place this class of, in this case, market steers 2, 1, 4, 3. So that's also really important too.
It also lets the judge know that you are done saying your reasons. When you give your final statement, like Carter said, I placed this class 2, 1, 4, 3 for these reasons. And then you usually step back, and then the judge knows for sure that you're done, and they'll probably say, thank you for giving your reasons. And then you'll either walk out of the room or walk out of the area that you're at.
I'm just going to jump in there quick. There was lots of members that put their placings in the chat, but they're directly coming to me. So if you want to share them with everybody, if you go to the chat and you select the down arrow that says everyone, then they all, everyone will see those. So you can repost them in there.
Like I said before, you guys can also just tell us like one at a time what your reasons were. We're here to help you guys out and just see where you guys are at also. So.
And also, don't forget, you guys are welcome to sign up for the Provincial 4-H judging competition. So this is really exciting. This is something that I always dreamed of doing, is competing at the provincial level and judging, but through COVID, it was my year to go, and you know, plans changed, but that's okay. So it's super exciting that junior, intermediate, and seniors get to come to provincials, and that's I think you can register March 11th. So yeah, don't hesitate to do that, because I would love to do that, and Lakeland is helping to host it.
It's also a good experience. Like, it's just to get yourself more out there and make yourself more confident and stuff like that. Like, it's always a good experience. You make friends while you're at the judging competition. I know when the judging team went to exhibition, we all were sitting in the hallway reading our reasons to ourselves, and then once we were done and prepared, we all just sat and talked, and we had some good talks and laughs, and it's always a good experience to go and get yourself out and do some judging stuff.
Yeah, so in my opinion, 4-H is awesome. It's you guys are part of a really great program. It's not just about judging competitions and stuff, but it's about the friendships you make. Like, to be honest with you, this team of we didn't know each other at all, and now we're pretty good friends. So we also just want to ask, what do you guys want to learn in the next 3 weeks, so we can kind of focus in, and we want to hear what you guys want to know. Feel free to type it in the chat, like whatever you guys are looking for. And it looks like you guys are pretty good. Your placings are pretty right on. We got lots of 2s and 1st, and yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening. Can you see everybody's comments?
Yeah, I can see. Oh, they're actually direct messages to me. I think is what's going on here.
Yeah, and I'm getting direct messages too. So I'm trying to troubleshoot that. Sorry, guys, in the chat. So maybe if people want to unmute and share, because that looks like it's a little bit of a glitch because they're just coming in direct messages. I don't know if everyone can see them. Can you guys all see the chats?
Hey, Suzanne. So
Hey.
what it just looks like I can see all of the messages, but when I click to change who to send them to, it's only you, Jessie, or Annalise that I can send them to. There's no option for me to send them to everyone.
Okay, I'll work on that one. This is a new Zoom thing after 2 years on Zoom. I will check that out. So you can private message them to whoever. Yeah, it says everyone, but they keep coming in individual. So Jessie, I think you're still sharing your screen so we can see your chat box of all the.
Oh, look at that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so terminology, somebody says, and I really, this is something that you can never stop improving on. I learned a lot about terminology just coming to Lakeland, and basically what we learn here, you're gonna learn. So next time, yeah, we will absolutely zone in on terminology. So like we said, just a brief overview, ER words are always used to compare one thing, whether it's leaner, stronger, longer, wider, anything like that can be used to an animal's advantage. Then sheep judging, that's another thing. I'm from a sheep 4-H club, and I love sheep. So we'll definitely do some more clinics about that. Do you guys have anything else? I'm sure you're just eager to learn something. Are any of you guys planning to jump into the provincial competition?
I can put that slide back up. I went through it kind of quick at the beginning, and it has the info on it about the provincial judging competition.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, I will do that. There's a lot of writing on it, but it is up on the website, and then also you can register for it already. So this is a new opportunity. One exciting thing, I believe it's a Friday, so that's a day off of school, that you can participate in the judging competition. And provincial judging usually is only senior members. The last few years had been intermediates that were interested, but this year juniors have the opportunity to join in as well. So it's all 3 age groups.
Perfect. I think that's so exciting. So I had a couple more questions come in. How do you come up with different reasons for all animals in the class? So this is the tricky part of judging. Basically, you just have to broaden your vocabulary. Think of new things to say about each animal. Keep in mind your perfect scenario, your perfect animal, and just, yes, build off of that. So if one is really got a long top line and a short underline, then highlight that. And yeah, I don't know. We'll go over it more in the next few weeks here. Somebody asked how to judge goats. So honestly, goats is a class that I've never judged before. Has anybody else judged goats?
I have never judged a goat ever. So it'll be something that all of us judging team can learn about too. We'll do some research on it.
For sure. And then another question. What oh man. What thing should we value for worse or better? A fatty brisket. So is a fatty brisket a bigger fault than poor tracking? Carter, what do you think about that?
I would say in breeding animals especially, I would put structure pretty much above just about anything else. At the end of the day, especially when we talk about cows and breeding females, they're gonna have to probably travel some miles. Like they're at the end of the day, they're cows, and where do your cows live? They live out in the field. They have to travel for water. They have to travel for food. I know at our house, we kick our cows out in 160 acres of snow and make them work for food for about 3 months of the winter. So I know that's pretty hard compared to us people who just go to the grocery store. So I know that they have to be able to hold up structurally. A fatty brisket, I wouldn't even put close to any structural problem, especially a major one where cattle are having trouble traveling and walking. So yeah, obviously for me, structure, even in market animals, structure is still pretty important to me.
Perfect. Another question is, how do you judge ducks? So that's another class I'm pretty sure none of us have ever judged. I can't speak for everybody, but I know I sure haven't. But yeah, so these are things we will research and we'll come back at you with hopefully some good pointers. At Canadian Agribition, we were presented with some classes that we had never judged before. So how the competition works is the night before you have a big supper and you're introduced to the classes that you're going to be looking at. So that night we were given Texas Longhorns is one example, and alpacas actually was another. So we had never ever judged, well, I know I sure haven't ever judged Texas Longhorns or alpacas, but we just went and we researched that night and we came back in the morning and we knew some stuff about both of those classes. So we will try to get some information on that, and we'll come back next week and teach you about ducks and sheep and goats. Okay, I have another question. So, what should be worn on judging day? So, Annalise, do you have something?
Yeah, so you're dressing to impress. You want to look the best, and if you look how you want to look, you will be more confident in yourself and you will just present better reasons or something. So usually it's like formal wear, either dress pants or dark jeans, a nice shirt. Boys can wear ties or a bow tie and a vest. Boys shouldn't be wearing hats, usually when they're giving their reasons. Girls, you can do your hair and makeup all pretty and just, yeah, dress how you feel most confident in yourself with formal wear, and you'll do pretty much really good on your reasons.
Yeah, so basically just dress to impress and you'll get success. Another question, how to judge crop classes. This is a new one for me. We had to judge that at exhibition, so I'm definitely not an expert, but I learned some stuff. Carter, you're more of the field man.
Well, I'm a ways from that, but I remember at the college when we were first shown, like, we're not grain farmers at our house, but we learned about, like, so they give you 4 samples, and some of the samples, depending whether it's a feed sample or like just a grain sample, we can either, like a feed sample, obviously you're looking at more numbers. So you're looking at your total digestible nutrients, because that would be a higher feed value per unit of feed for your cows. You're looking at, so for feed, you're looking at probably the 3 main things would be protein, energy, and fiber. So protein number, you want a higher protein number is probably better. A higher energy number would be better. And then, yeah, and then some trace minerals. But to keep it simple when you're judging a feed sample would just be to look at protein and energy. So that's probably the 2 main things that you should be concerned about. And then a grain sample visually, we want to look for not a lot of augering. So if you look at the seeds and you look close, you can see if they've been cracked a lot. And if a lot of them are broken, then obviously that's not good. You want a clean sample. So you don't want lots of other stuff that's obviously not the grain in there. What did I miss? Something about a feed sample. So if you're judging 4 silage samples, which I don't know if we did it at Agribition, but I know we've done it at the college at practice. And we had 2 corn samples and 2 barley silage samples. And obviously, so you're looking for moisture content, smell. So if it's black and it smells not sweet, obviously your cows aren't going to want to eat it, because your cow has to stick their nose in it to eat it. So if you wouldn't want to eat it, they probably wouldn't want to eat it. So that's kind of how I think about it. And that's, I think, a pretty good indicator of whether or not it's going to sit at the top of the class or the bottom.
So yeah, crop classes is pretty similar to consumer decision making. A lot of the times you get a paper that you can look at and read, and then it'll give you a lot of information while you look at the class. So just a reminder, so provincial judging is on March 11th, 2022, and your deadline to register is February of 2022. So we had a few more questions. This one's directed to Carter. So why do beef judging classes tend to lean towards purebred commercial cattle?
So I think I had the question in my chat here. I got to read it again. Why do beef judging classes tend to lean towards purebred cattle versus commercial cattle in terms of structure? So I wouldn't say they necessarily lean towards purebred cattle, like in some shows where you show purebred cattle against commercial cattle, like in junior shows or at 4-H shows, like some of you guys might be familiar with. But in some cases, not all cases, but some commercial producers, I wouldn't say focus on structure as hard as some commercial producers, as obviously not purebred producers don't get paid by the pound the way that a commercial producer would. So for some commercial producers, performance is just everything, and a lot of other things can get overlooked. I don't know if that really answers your question, but yeah, that could be why sometimes the purebred cattle may excel in terms of structure and stuff, just because I wouldn't say as a whole, but a lot of commercial producers do overlook some things of structure. So that's why I would say they lean that way a little bit.
Also, lots of purebred breeders, they are trying to sell their stock. They're trying to sell their yearling bulls and their 2-year-old bulls, or even their females that they're trying to sell in the spring, right? So they need to be always keeping up with the times and making sure those animals are walking, because if they aren't walking correctly, the buyers aren't going to buy, right? So as a commercial breeder myself, when I'm looking at buying a purebred heifer, I want to make sure she's walking correctly. She's got good feet on her, and underneath her, she's got a good udder. She should be able to walk for miles, and she should be able to last me a good like quite a few years. So like that's kind of why purebred cattle need to have more structure and be structurally correct over like commercial guys. They also do look at that, but they just, like Carter said, they sometimes overlook it because we're getting paid by the pound. So that's just another thing to kind of think about as well.
So a question that I missed was how to judge showmanship. How to judge showmanship. So this obviously differs from the species that you're judging. So my main focus in showmanship is sheep and horse. So for sheep, you want to have your sheep under control. Basically, just think of what you do when you show your animals, and that's what you want to look for. So I don't know, I guess we could go more in depth to this next week if we wanted to, but yeah. How do you show a cow, Carter?
I think like when we judge showmanship, or if you're ever been in a showmanship competition, I think probably the most important thing is the work you do at home. I personally, I don't like when we go to a showmanship competition and they make you switch animals with someone else, because I think you win the showmanship competition at home with the hours and the work you put in, with your calf on the halter every other day. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's fair that you get somebody else's one that's wild and then it makes you look like you're not a good showman because you get frustrated with their calf. But that's my soapbox, and that's another thing. I think the number one most important thing is having them being able to get their feet set up quickly, and obviously having their head up, having a comb with you in your right pocket, not your left pocket, smooth, easy strokes with your show stick. Obviously just being able to keep your animal calm, so you can obviously show it to the best of its ability. It has to be leading good. And I think a showman that looks like they deserve to be there, a showman that looks like they've been there before, and it's pretty easy to sort out the cream of the crop when you think about it that way, I feel.
Another thing that we got taught in 4-H for my club, they also told us to keep your eye on the judge. Watch that judge. When they're looking at you, you should be looking right back at them. You need to, when the judge is looking at you, you need to be looking right back at them and give them your best smile and just kind of show them that you're paying attention to them and you're watching them too.
Yeah, my dad always told me, I always figured like there's no such thing as too much eye contact. Some people get out there in the ring and they look at the judge, and then the judge looks them in the eye and they look away. I feel like if you're confident, stare them right in the eye. Like, you're better off to look them in the eye and make them kind of like have a double take, because then they're going to look at you. I feel like there's no such thing as too much eye contact, in my opinion. You might as well just stare a hole in them and maybe they'll look your way more. So that's just the way I think about it.
And as for showing a horse, you just want to be, like they said, paying attention to that judge the whole time. You want to make your movements swift and quick. Showmanship is a huge thing in your horse shows. I know there's riding classes and everything, but my favorite was always on the ground, showing my horse to the best of my ability. So making sure that the person you're judging is making their animal stand nice. Like, they want to show their animal, make it look the best that it can be. So whoever's paying attention the most, I know a lot of people in the sheep world, the judge will come down, pretend that they're feeling your sheep up, and then they'll scoop up some shavings and put them on your sheep. And then you got to be paying attention to your animal and get those shavings off. Otherwise, the judge is going to see that. So when you're judging showmanship, you just want to make sure you're looking at all your competitors. look at the people who are watching you. Look at the people who are showing their animals to the best that they can possibly be. I don't know. Do we have any more questions, or are you guys feeling pretty good for next week?
Another thing to add just before we stop, another good thing to do when you're not busy on show day, whatever animal you're showing, go and watch the older senior members or even the intermediate members. You can learn a lot from watching people show, and it shows a lot because if you watch, those senior members will teach you something that you're like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And that judge will notice when you're watching too.
And that's the same with judging too. Like, judging isn't just going out and giving reasons. Like, judging can be going to a bull sale with your mom and dad, or your mom or dad or whoever, or a friend or someone older that maybe you think knows more than you, and go through a pen. And if you see something that, oh, maybe that doesn't, say something and ask them what they see. And if they see it the same way, or maybe they see it something different, because you can learn a lot just by walking through cattle and walking through and evaluating, just that way, whether it's at the show or in your own pen at home or whatever. So I think that's where you learn the most, is just evaluating at home and thinking what you see. Because when you know what you see, and you get confident with looking at cattle, it's pretty easy to put a set of reasons together when you actually know what you're talking about, obviously, right?
Well, do you see any other more questions in your chat box, Jessie, Carter, Annalise?
I think I have no more questions on mine.
All right, and we're right at 8 o'clock. So thank you very much. I'm going to quickly run through the sponsors one more time, and then I do have a couple important notes for next week. So first off, definitely thank you to the Lakeland College judging team for sharing some great PowerPoint slides, as well as their knowledge in a lot of different questions, and taking time to answer the questions as well. So just a reminder, we did record tonight's session, so all the participants will be able to review this session again. So if you missed something and you want to review it, you'll be able to go back at a later date. We want to definitely thank our 4-H Alberta sponsors, Alberta Government, Alberta Recycling, EltaLink, ATB, Calgary Stampede Foundation, CPA, Education Foundation Alberta, UFA, AFSC, PV Mart, Save On Foods, and our Silver Clover sponsors, Service Equipment, and the Bronze Clover sponsors, Alberta Beef Producers, Bayer, Gas Alberta Inc., Lakeland College, who has brought to this wonderful series and our partnership for our provincial event, MSC Net, Nutrien, Viterra, and our 4-H Canada national sponsor, Bayer. So thank you to all those sponsors. Programs like these would not be possible without our gracious contribution from our sponsors. Just a quick reminder, if you want more information about the provincial judging competition, you can find that on the 4-H website or in the online registration system. There are a couple things that I want you guys to know. I should have mentioned them at the beginning, but you're going to use the same link that you used tonight for all of the series. So if you ever get lost, go back to that original email and use that link. And we did have some people register for these learning series that didn't put in a session. So if you found this session a little bit too complicated, we can put you in the beginner session for next time. If you're looking for a little bit more, we can put you in the advanced, but you have to let Tracy know tonight or tomorrow and not at 6:50 next week, okay? So if we don't hear from you this week, we will keep you in the same session. And those are for the members that didn't indicate a session. Everybody else indicated a session. So if you are somebody that didn't pick one, you know who you are and you can let us know. And again, if you have any questions about the session or something that you would like the Lakeland College judging team to focus on, you can reach out to Tracy, who sent you the email as well. So I think that's all my housekeeping items now. Again, big round of applause. I know it's hard on Zoom, but thank you very much, Lakeland College judging team. And we will see you all next week.